All right, let's get into the juicy story here. So this story was posted by me on the 17th of June. It's titled, "My Project Got Hacked and User Funds Were Stolen." So it was when was June 17th? Was that the beginning of this, or beginning of last week? Something like that. This hack happened for my project called Bitcoin Link about 2 weeks ago. It was a bad time. It was a bad couple of days. I'll tell you that. But let's read through it, and I'm going to tell you everything that I can about what happened, but there's some stuff I have to leave out for privacy, security reasons. We'll talk about that later, but let's go through it. Okay. During the Bitcoin++ hackathon, I built Bitcoin Link as a simple showcase of how you can use Nostr Wallet Connect to create non-custodial, one-time use reward links redeemable via Lightning. So the service allows you to send Bitcoin to anyone with a simple link redeemable with Lightning via Nostr Wallet Connect. The sender generates an NWC with either Alby or Mutiny. They choose a total budget and the number of links to split that budget across. Bitcoin Link then generates a pseudo-random secret, encrypts the NWC with the secret, stores the secret in one or many links, and saves the encrypted NWC in our database. The receiver clicks one of the links the app detects and decrypts the NWC and sends the Bitcoin directly to the receiver's wallet from the sender's wallet over Lightning. Okay, that was really confusing. Let's see this in action. So Bitcoin Link is still live and it is fixed. It's fixed now, but I'll show you how this works. So pretty simple interface. So you can choose a number of links and then sats per link. So I'll do one link for 10 sats here. And then I will generate with Alby. My Alby window will pop up and it'll ask me, do I want to authorize a Nostr Wallet Connect, which is basically a permission to pull money from my wallet for a budget of 10 sats. So this is a never budget, meaning it will never renew. It is a one-time use budget of 10 sats from my wallet. I click connect and I confirm. Okay, and what basically just happened is that on the client side, this Nostr Wallet Connect, this token was created. A secret was generated. The Nostr Wallet Connect was encrypted and stored in the database in the server. And the secret is right here in the link. So they're kept separate. So from my perspective as the person that is running this app, I don't have both the secret and the encrypted Nostr Wallet Connect, so I can't take your money. So then I have this link here, I can go send it to my mom. My mom opens this link and she sees right here, amount of 10 sats, and she can put in any Lightning address, Bolt 11 invoice or LNURL. I'll do my Stacker News. We'll hit claim, it'll take a second, and then we're able to execute this payment. There we go, and the link is now claimed. And if I go to Stacker News, we will see I just got a reward for 10 sats. So that is how it works. So let's continue with the story. Okay. I was particularly proud of this scheme because it splits the encryption key and the encrypted Nostr Wallet Connect in two separate places. The server never saves the secret, and the sender can create multiple links from one NWC. However, despite this theoretically sound approach, I made a grave implementation mistake that allowed a hacker to access both the secret and the encrypted Nostr Wallet Connect, leading to the theft of one of my users' funds. In this post, I'll walk you through the hack, how I fixed it, and what I learned. Cool, so the hackathon, I built the first implementation of Bitcoin Link at Bitcoin++ hackathon. If you don't know, Bitcoin++ is probably the best, maybe one of the best. If Tidwell's not here, I'll say it's the best developer conference in Bitcoin. TabConf is also very good, but Bitcoin++ happens in Austin every year, and it also happens around the world. I think there's going to be a Bitcoin++ eCash edition in Mexico, something like that. But yeah, so great conference. They had a hackathon, and that's when I built Bitcoin Link. So during development, I made a few bad assumptions about how I could build my MVP, which required some architectural changes midway through the build. This is a common occurrence in hackathons, so I made the changes, continued on, and I managed to get the MVP working and submit it to the hackathon. I was thrilled with the result and excited to see people's reactions. And after the hackathon, a few people approached me interested in using Bitcoin Link for various purposes, which was cool. Yeah, so basically, you come up with an idea for a project. I was doing this. I did this hackathon alone. And kind of in the middle of building it, I realized like, oh, my database schema is wrong. I have to do this differently, right? So I'm in the middle of building and I'm kind of changing how things are done mid-flight. So this is where I introduced the mistake that caused the hack. So following the hackathon, I made basic improvements to the UI and flow, add the ability to generate links with Community Wallet, and I created an API endpoint for programmatically pulling generated links. Unfortunately, during this time, I neglected to review my code thoroughly and audit the core flow of the app. Had I done so, I likely would have found the vulnerability before it was exploited. However, I was distracted by shiny new features, and I didn't take the time to clean up what I had already built. So this is a big lesson for me. Maybe one of the biggest lessons right here was reviewing my code. As obvious of a lesson that should be. Okay, let's keep going. So last week, this would be 2 weeks now, I woke up to a message from one of my users saying their Albi wallet had been drained of over 200,000 sats. I was shocked. I had built the service to be non-custodial and secure. How could this have happened? I quickly checked my logs and saw a trail of requests that appeared to be someone generating and claiming links, playing with the endpoints. My user had generated many links with a large budget on their NWC. The hacker got one of these links, accessed the secret, and decrypted it. But how? I reviewed my code and quickly saw that one of my most critical endpoints was left unprotected. Right, so this is kind of what had changed in flight. I ended up leaving an endpoint open that allowed anyone to pull down the encrypted Nostr Wallet Connect. But of course, with the secret in that link and that API endpoint that should have been protected and only allowed to be pulled from my domain, anyone could pull from it. So this is what the hacker did. The hacker with a valid link someone else generated was able to grab the secret from the link, pull the encrypted NWC from my unprotected endpoint, decrypt it, and drain it of its full budget. It was such a simple oversight, I couldn't believe I had missed this critical vulnerability. Because the code was open source, the hacker was able to play around with the service, discover the vulnerability, and exploit it all within a single night. Okay, so I'll skip over the fix, but essentially here I almost fully re-architected the whole app, and I thought from zero of, well, for one, how the hack was done, and then for two, how to make it as difficult as possible to do anything like this again without completely breaking the flow of how the service works. And I found a pretty good solution for doing that. I feel very, very confident in what I have right now, but would love to be proven wrong. Okay, let's get to the end here, and I'll give some more color on what happened. So what I learned, the experience taught me a lot. It was the first time a project of mine had been hacked, as far as I know. The first time I lost someone else's money due to my mistake, and the first time I had to play cat and mouse with a hacker trying to pwn my users in real time. Yeah, this is something I don't really touch on. Like, the initial hack happened, and I quickly shut down the service and was fixing it and stuff like that. But even after the fix, this hacker was still kind of poking at the service and still trying to get me, still trying to get my users. So it was very scary, stressful to deal with. I'm very disappointed in myself for letting this happen, but I know it's important to share exactly what happened and take responsibility for it. I strive to be transparent with my work. Everything I've ever worked on as a developer has been open source and done in public. It would be hypocritical of me to not share my failures as well. This is what really got me to write this post in the first place as well. Some people around PlebLab and Keon specifically encouraged me that I should share this, because once this all happened, it was fixed. No one else was affected. It was kind of a situation where I could have just not talked about it, could have just moved on. And I kind of didn't want to talk about it because it's very embarrassing. It's shameful. And you think that you think that this will ruin your reputation. It's easy to have that thought, and I was kind of having that thought, but overall, I think it actually helped my reputation in a weird way to share this versus to keep it secret. Overall, this was an important learning experience. I gained better understanding of security, the importance of code reviews, and the necessity of auditing your code to ensure it's secure. I have a newfound respect for the level of responsibility I have when building and shipping projects to end users, especially when they involve payments. Hope others will heed my warning and always proceed with caution and an adversarial mindset when building and deploying software. Sweet. So conclusion. So with all of that out of the way, let me put my money where my mouth is. Here is a Bitcoin link that correlates to 100,000 sats. Nostr Wallet Connect that I generated with Albi. This one is a freebie. Someone will be able to claim 1,000 sats. So someone already claimed this. We can go click on it and we can see that, yeah, link is not found. It's been claimed. Then here's the Bitcoin link source code that I also link to. I invite anyone with the technical chops to take the information in this link and the source code and try and hack the updated version of Bitcoin link and drain my NWC. Yeah, so basically this is the same information that the hacker originally had. So I was like, okay, I'm claiming I've got this fixed. Let me put my money where my mouth is. So I generated 100,000 sats bounty basically. 1/100th of that was in this link, but this is the same information that the hacker had. So it's kind of like, okay, here's an open challenge. If you're able to hack this, you'll actually be stealing my money. And so far, no one has. So that's good. I've been watching the logs closely. People have been trying, but yeah, it's held up since the hack. Cool. Yeah, so that is kind of the full post here. So what other color can I give? So what I can't really talk about is the user that this affected, and a little bit about how Bitcoin Link was being used. Because Bitcoin Link, it's a little bit generic in a sense that it's just like, it's a place where you can generate these links and then you can claim them. You can claim them through the API as well, or not claim them rather, but pull them programmatically. So I built this for a specific reason because some people have wanted that. And what was I saying? Why was I bringing that up? Oh, I forgot. Okay, let's look at the comments though. 200k sats, not too large of a price to pay for a lesson. Onwards indeed. That's what Gray Ruby said. Yeah, I agreed with that. I would pay a lot for a bug like this again, but it was really like the reputational hit and everything that was the real price here that I'm kind of mentioning. This is one reason budgets on NWC should absolutely be put in place, especially on experimental services, which arguably they all are. Good comment from Tony. I actually did have a budget, which I showed you before, and this was, was able to keep the wallet from getting completely drained. It allows the user to cap their risk. But yeah, I should have only allowed smaller budgets at first. That would have been a smart thing to do. So at most, maybe a user could only expose themselves to losing 100,000 sats or something like that. A lot of people were just, thanking me for sharing this. Yeah. Hopefully scared a few people straight here. Definitely scared me straight. But man, what else can I say about this? Oh yes, according to my comment here, I have kind of a mysterious, elusive comment. I should also mention, there's a lot of details I have to leave out for privacy security reasons, but I'm 99% positive I know who hacked Bitcoin Link, and it is a prominent developer in the space I'm sure everyone would recognize. I'm not absolutely certain though, so I won't name them, but they could still definitely shoot me a DM. So this is the thing I have to be careful talking about, but I can let you in a little bit on the inside. Essentially, for reasons I cannot explain, I was able to track the logs of the hacker that was hitting my service. So when they were hitting Bitcoin Link, they're completely anonymous. I don't know who they are, but they were hitting with they started with a certain link, a specific link, and I was able to track that link back to the user and track that back to an email. So basically, the person who started the hack, I was able to get their email and expose it through some means I cannot talk about. So I know this email, and an email is an email. You can never trust an email, but the email address of this person is a prominent Bitcoin Lightning Nostr developer that many of us have heard of. I'm kind of waiting. I haven't reached out yet to ask, like, hey, is this you? I might do that this week, but I'm kind of waiting for them to reach out. It's one of those things I can't confirm it for sure, but it's a very interesting situation because I mean, there's only so many people in the world that understand how Nostr Wallet Connect works. There's also a developer that would also be keeping an eye on such a small app like this. So it's a very small group of potential people that this could have been. But it's pretty interesting that I'm pretty sure I know who this hacker is and they know who I am. I don't know if they know I know, but maybe they do now. But that's just something that makes it a little more juicy here. Yeah, and people are telling me I need to approach them. This person's a thief. Yeah, and I mean, kind of my perspective on this is like, I would say technically I do think this is thievery, but at the same time, like, I take full responsibility. That was really loud. I take full responsibility, and really this is a mistake on my part. I left a vulnerable service up. It was just waiting for someone to come along, right? So it's like, I have to take a responsibility for that. I could go make this about a manhunt and that, like, I've been cheated and I've been exploited and my user was robbed, but I just don't think that's the right approach. Like, I have to take responsibility. If it wasn't hacked by this guy, it would have been hacked by someone else later for probably more money. So, yeah. A lot to take away from this though, but I'm sure I'll talk about this more in the future, and there will probably be more details that I'll be able to talk about in the future. But yeah, interesting experience. You should check out the source code though. It's actually pretty, let's say, easy to work with, surprisingly easy. It's just an Next.js app. As I said, everything should be fixed now, and you can actually go through a lot of my commits here and see some of what was changed mid-flight. But yeah, that was my top dev story from the week. So there we go. Be careful with your apps if they handle payments, freaks. Yeah, I've heard I forget what this quote is. I'll misquote it, but it goes something like a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. Something like that. So it's good to learn from your own mistakes. I learned from my mistake here, but learn from my mistake yourself. Don't make this yourself. And even if you are releasing services that do payments or do custody or whatever like that, like cap the downside, cap the worst that can happen for your users. And that was another very simple thing that I could have done and would have made this much different. So I'll leave it at that.